Here.
Marcia Parker.
Here.
Ken Colley.
Here.
Bill Young.
Here.
Ron Sharon.
Here.
All right, we got our quorum. This is a special board meeting, so we're gonna just go straight into it. Consideration of the tabled FCRA cost share agreement for grant to extend Church Street. Steve, you got any opinions on the two that we have all gotten in?
As much as I'd like to have it all done in one whack, I think for the better common sense to take the second preference. It is a less of a money impact that we'll have. It'll get us down to the corner. The other thing is that we'll know in the future what's going to happen on the north side, or what I call the inside of the curve between H Street and Church Street is going to be used. And if you'll look in your packet, you'll see the map that is there. The other thing is that we talked last time briefly about the actual work that's going to be on to do the strip that we have bladed multiple times to in our fireworks displays, and that's from the interstate on north to H Street. Until we really know what the destination is, I think we'd be better off leaving that. If we had all kinds of money wandering around, it wouldn't be a question. But in my own mind, until the designers, and this money that's in the second, or the reduced deal, has the design and the analysis and the testing of the roadways in the design. So the design will be done, but it's not going to be fundable, I don't think, or recommended at this time. I'd rather have the money for, may have another project that comes up that we need at work. I'll leave it at that.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Steve or any comments about the two? Daniel, would you guys like to come up and speak about it, or?
Yeah, well, I think Josh will want to clarify some of the engineering design that was just referenced by Steve.
Yeah, so the reduced scope only includes detailed design for the Church Street up until that red line on the reduced scope, right? So just on the other side of the RDOT right away. So we wouldn't do detailed design all the way up to H Street unless that's something that you guys wanted to add in. But we've reduced the engineering fee to cover that. It was only for that smaller linear foot portion. Now we will still need to master plan the alignment. So we'll master plan the alignment all the way through, but we'll still have to do some additional design when we come back and do the Park Road portion later.
And with that, my recommendation would be to go ahead and design the full thing, which we can get into that now or later. Once we determine what the grant is, we can come back and discuss that additional cost. And unless you're ready to discuss that now, we do have that breakout available if you want to have that discussion now.
Anybody have any comments on that? Do you want to do a full design or do it like it's drawn up here?
What's the difference in cost? What's it anticipated?
Yeah, so the fee that we gave for just the design on what I'm calling Church Street, which is Church and RDOT, was $153,000 all in. For the full design, it was $260,000. So it's about a $90,000 difference to come back and do H Street later. So if you did a second application, we would add that $90,000 in plus the construction cost of the future. Or you could go ahead and do the full design now.
And that extra $90,000, we would split it with us and y'all,
Yes.
so it'd be actually, we spend $45,000 more.
Yes, sir. That would be what I anticipate.
Okay.
Again, I have to bring all this before our board of trustees, but I'd make that recommendation.
And just to clarify, that it's front weighted a little bit on the church portion because we've got to define a pavement section and a design, but we also need to define alignment for the full thing no matter what. So even if we don't do a detailed construction set for the north-south portion of the park, I've still got to go set right-of-way easements, and we'd want to reserve that piece of property, et cetera, so that when we do go do the second phase of the project, that It'll just be adding all of that back in.
I think we ought to do it. I think we ought to do the whole design,
Design, yeah.
just, because that'll give us an idea of what it would cost and everything like that. We're not gonna get any cheaper.
All right. Anybody got any other comments or anything?
No, I just would like to thank board and staff for working with us on this. I know it asks a lot of any board to meet 3 times in 1 week, and I
What are we gonna
appreciate
do
y'all.
next Tuesday night?
Pardon me?
What we do next Tuesday night?
Well, we can come back and report on,
Oh, that's okay. That's
the-
okay.
what the trust says, but I'm sure Steve will be at that meeting. But again, thank you for your time.
All righty, y'all been able to look at it, we would like a
I'll
Like a
entertain,
motion.
some motion that we do the design on the full Church Street
on the second,
on the second
contract.
contract.
Can I ask a question? Would that be contingent upon the grant award, or going ahead and starting immediately on the design and construction? My preference, again, would be to start it as soon as possible, because that way we know construction.
You talk about the design.
Yes, sir.
Design,
Yeah, I think we should start the design.
that's,
Because
I
that way
think-
you're mobilized once and you know what you're looking for out front.
That's really 2 votes then. What you're voting for is
Right.
2 separate things, an apple and an orange. One would be to vote to immediately fund the project meaning the entire thing. That would be one vote. The next vote would be to approve one of these issued agreements. And I think we would be going with the 1.4 million, where the city's maximum exposure would be like $177,000.
So we're looking for a motion for.
I just think we need to do 2 things.
Okay, so-
It's just 2
can I make
separate-
my motion again? I make a motion that we do the full engineering on the full Church Street.
With the full project, with the city bearing half of those costs and the FCRA bearing half of those costs.
Yes, sir.
That's one vote, yes.
That's
Yes.
260,000, so we're gonna split that in half for the full design. So we're agreeing today for that 130,000 for full design, and then take that out of the grant completely? Okay.
Well, we could add it to the grant, especially if they're gonna pay for half of it.
You wanna add it to the grant?
Yeah, my
But we're gonna pay for it regardless if we don't do the grant. Okay.
my thought is to revise the cost share agreement to include that cost, which maximizes the full grant value to the 1.5 million.
Or we can do it that way.
And we can,
Yeah.
we'll get a agreement for Mick and Griffin, we'll both review.
Do y'all understand what Dalton just said? Basically, we would have one motion to pass the agreement, and we would incorporate the cost of the engineering into the project grant itself.
Yeah.
Which would maximize grant funds.
Right.
Yes.
But the city agrees to pay the 130 regardless of awarding grant or not. The half of
Yes.
the design.
And that's the
Okay.
second,
Second contract, the partial.
second vote.
Yeah,
Second.
I think so.
Second, yeah.
Because we'll wanna start that.
Let's make this as complicated.
Okay.
My goal is to always make it as
We're gonna-
uncomplicated
okay.
as we can.
Unlike how historically we did it, where the engineering contract was called out separately because the source of the funds is a different account, okay? And then the construction cost is a separate account and a separate contract.
It will be called out separately, Steve, in the grant application, but for this purposes, it was all in one.
Because,
If that's going to be the way, then I think you can probably incorporate it into one by saying that the motion would be that one of you make a motion to accept the engineering project in toto, with the engineering project being part of the FCRA grant and us agreeing to split that, with the understanding that if the grant is awarded, we will only be doing the Church Street and RDOT addition, which is set out here, which would make the city's maximum exposure on the construction 177,171, which seems to be a lot more palatable than.
Why didn't you say that earlier?
Well, that's what part of it is.
Well, because
That's with partial
part of the
design though.
engineering.
Huh?
We wanna do full design,
Yes.
but
yes,
only
yes.
the Church Street on the construction.
Yes.
That's why I say.
Yes.
you
So
have-
that 177,
I've been there before.
Okay.
Okay.
So if we do them separately, we're agreeing to, like she's saying, that's without the grant money, but if we do it all together, we have to put in the, if I'm thinking this right, we have to put in the stipulation that we want full design, just doing the
Partial construction.
partial construction. That way we can get the grant and whatever the grant money, if we get any, then
Yes.
that's what we're.
We will do
so in-
Church Street and we will incorporate the engineering costs.
Right.
If we get the full award of the 1.5,
Yeah.
that will be in the grant, so that will help us by offsetting those engineering costs for the whole project.
Right.
Although we're only voting to do Church Street because it will be, a smaller bite at the apple and more palatable at $171,000.
And you all don't know, but Dan would tell you that they've got a 1.2 million pot coming from the highway department.
Yes. As soon as it's done.
Yeah. And that is for the truck route, if we ever get there.
And we anticipate spending close to $1 million on water and sewer extensions, that same area.
All right. Ken, you wanna try it again?
I'd make the motion as Matt had spelled it out, that we accept the second agreement. We do engineering for the full project. And that, however, our anticipation is we're only gonna do half of it for the engineering for the full amount. Something like that.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second
Got a second? Let's do a roll call vote.
Aaron Rowe,
No.
John Manus.
No.
James Davis,
Yes.
Marsha Parker.
Yes.
Ken Coley,
Yes.
Bill Young,
No.
and Ron Cheryl.
No.
It doesn't pass. All right, so what do we want to do? Do we want to do this project at all?
Apparently not.
How do we want to go about this? Do we want to extend Church Street? Do we want to do the whole thing?
They don't have a clue.
I mean, that's why we're here, let's figure
I
this
say
out.
no to both. If you really
Absolutely.
wanna know. Yeah.
Okay. So you don't want to do any of it, you don't want Barling to donate any money to help this go along?
Let's just get to the why.
Yeah.
Because the why needs to be resolved, because when you have a town, this goes all the way back historically to the original fight between Fort Smith and Barling, when Barling had all of Fort Chaffee before Fort Smith got involved, and Barling gave up the lion's share back to Fort Smith, because when you take over property like that, the city commits itself to providing proper infrastructure. And if you cannot provide proper infrastructure, then someone will come in and take the property from you and sue. For instance, Fort Smith comes in and goes, we'll build roads out there. If Barling can't or won't do it, we will do it. So the city has to provide basic infrastructure to develop the city. If it does not do that, it risks putting that at jeopardy for somebody else to come in and acknowledge they will provide basic infrastructure. I do agree.
They're gonna foot the bill?
I do agree that these properties that are purchased from the FCRA, when they are developed, that is the developer's responsibility to build inside that parcel that is purchased. It's their, they have to do the tie-ons, they have to build the streets and curbs, they have to build the sidewalks, they have to do all of that. But as far as streets go, city streets that go through and to the property, that is the city of Barling's obligation. I don't know somehow how we got off track into thinking somebody else is financially responsible for building our city streets, because they are not. But I think that that is what I'm hearing, is that we don't want to build the city streets. We don't think that that is our financial obligation, but I'm telling you from a legal standpoint, it is your financial obligation to build city streets. And if you don't do it, somebody else will. And by somebody else, I'm taking it to mean probably the folks that live just west of here. Now,
So,
Why is this the first time that we've been asked to contribute to building the street?
Yeah.
Each street was a 50-50
Each-
split.
yeah.
Why is it so
Each
quick?
street, It was a
Yes,
split.
why do you assume that the city has never paid for a street?
Just asking why they haven't came to us and asked us to participate in any kind of development in the city of Barling until now.
When we did H Street, was it 50-50? Well, there you go. When we built H Street, the H Street extension, that was paid for half by the city, half by the FCRA. So yes, it has been done before.
I agree that we need the street, but I don't think we need it right now.
That's not where we're going. It's not right now.
Well, when? When you gonna build that street?
Well,
When we get a little
whenever
more
we
financially
get other
stable.
things off the table.
Do we have, what else is on the table? Do we have money? Do we have the money for it?
The city has to offer that as a street, like the city has to say that's where the streets would like.
Yeah.
If they've got it platted and they're selling property and neighborhoods are going in, you have to have streets
So
to
they
get
pick where our streets are.
police.
So we can go to
Look
Fort.
at the plat. H Street goes east-west right in front of it. That other street goes north-south. Church Street goes east-west. It's not even like we're making up streets.
I'm not saying we don't need it, I'm on for growth, I'm just trying to clarify for them, because they feel like they're being backed into something. What if we look back at how Daniel presented, what if we just apply for the plans this time?
Time out.
The plans of the streets,
Let me tell you
instead of
something.
the construction.
Okay.
What you got, Steve?
There's an ordinance named 272. Ordinance number 272, and it has a map with it that shows the streets that were put in accordance with Arkansas law in your master street plan years ago. And I had to deal with the yahoos that put the gas well out in the middle of the street down there, or the gas pump station. And that is when they first discovered that there was a master plan in accordance, and it's filed at Greenwood, it's filed here, we have a copy of the map. And H Street was one of them. You can't put a gas well pumping station in the middle of H Street, what they had to move it. And we didn't have to pay for it, the gas company did.
Well, my big point
And the
is
other thing
this.
is, not only that, Matt, but it also had Church Street extended, and it shows on there, and it's labeled as the type of road it is.
Okay, I found out what I needed to find out, and thank you, Bill, because you're saying this just seems sudden to us, that they would come and ask us to pay for half a road. Okay.
Whenever we've had any kind of conversation with them, we've always been shut out.
That's what I wanted to find out, why we're so hesitant to provide a city street, and you gave me the answer. So the answer back to you is, I understand this seems to be coming out of left field, but the fact is, we have done this before. There is a precedent for developing the Chaffee part of Barling, and H Street is the best example that I can give you. Chaffee, the trust paid half of that, the city paid half of that. Now, whether we've forgotten or people weren't on the board at the time or whatever, that actually happened, and that's how it went down. So now we're talking about going south with the same idea and coming east with Church Street and tying that in. So we have H, whatever you
Understand.
want to call that South Street. I know you want to call it Machine Gun Kelly Lane or whatever.
Grenade range.
And then tying in Church Street. That needs to be done. And what I'm understanding is they're actually selling, while they haven't sold it all, they've got at least one that I saw drawings for that's at the southeast corner of Church and whatever. So we have to put those streets in. I mean, we have to put that north-south street in. We have to put in Church Street if we want that to be viable and be developed. And what I think we're getting here is we're getting streets built for 25 cents on the dollar at max. A street that is 100% our responsibility. We're getting half the funding from the state, thank you very much, and we're getting half of the remainder from the trust. So basically, streets that are our obligation, dollar for dollar, we're getting under these agreements, or any form y'all want to do, we're getting them for 25 cents on the dollar.
So my question is, okay, did we pay for half of Chad Colley?
Fort Smith and FCRA did.
Well, here's another
Part of
question.
it though was, the money
What
was
I'm
sent
saying is,
to us to
Fort
them.
Smith and the FCRA did. I would imagine, and we can go back and do revisionist history, but I'll bet with it being on the Barling side, the FCRA probably could have come to us and said, FCRA and Fort Smith are splitting the west side of Chad Colley. Barling and the trust need to split the east side.
That's why I'm asking the
Of
question,
Chad
why,
Colley.
why not then
Right.
and
But
now?
he's just saying, I think, correct me if I'm
No,
wrong,
you're right.
what he's saying is we foot that whole bill,
We did.
100%.
Just like
We did.
We
And-
put the whole bill.
We
on-
could have
on
come to
it.
you for half, but we didn't.
Right.
Now that we're clearly on what's called, the Barling side, we're not even edging Fort Smith, we're into that land east of 59. Obviously, we, meaning in concert with the trust, extended H across 59 into those neighborhoods, and we now have the park and we all have that. The next phase is now needed, and that is to take that road south and to tie it in to Church coming in from the east. And that's where we are right now. So whether we realized it or not, we have done that in the past, and the trust has actually built roads that they probably could have asked us to front half the money for, but didn't.
So what you're saying is, no matter what, even though we voted, it's still gonna happen. It's gotta happen, is what you're saying.
What, do you want to develop
No,
it or
I'm
not?
asking you a question that
Okay.
you're saying, even though we voted no to not go along with this, that we still are gonna have to do it. That's what you're telling us.
Well, yes. If you're going to develop it, yes. The city has certain obligations.
Well, you're saying that somebody's gonna come in and do it for us if we don't do that.
Well,
So you're putting it on the table
The
that,
point I'm making is, that's how we lost the vast majority of the land back between 2000 and 2002. Because when Fort Smith balked on it and said, we don't want it, Barling took it all. We said, we will take every single acre. And Fort Smith stopped, as Fort Smith is wont to do, and scratched his head and realized that was probably a dumb idea for Fort Smith. So then they said, hey, Barling, how about, because I was around at this time. I was working on all that stuff with Greg Carver. We were partners. And Barling said, hell no, we're not giving any of it back to you. Go pound sand. The train has left the station, you missed it, Fort Chaffee belongs to Barling. Hence the lawsuit. Fort Smith sues the trust, sues Barling, and cites Arkansas state law that says if you cannot develop the property, you don't get it. So Fort Smith, are you ready, willing, or Barling, are you ready, willing, and able to provide police, fire, roads, sewer, and all that to all this development? And the answer was, well, no, we're too small, we don't have the money to do all that. That is where it got divided up like Europe after World War II, and the parties that be sat down and scratched out what Fort Smith was gonna take back because they had the financial wherewithal to provide streets, sewer, water, and everything that land needed for infrastructure. Barling took what we took and said we can provide water, sewer, streets, infrastructure to our area. So what I'm saying, John, is when you do that, you have to be ready, willing, and able to provide the infrastructure that the city has to provide, and that is streets, sewer, and water. And if you can't do that, and no, I'm not saying you have to do it, but I'm saying I know how people think, I know how Fort Smith thinks. They have come to us on more than one occasion and said, we would like a little bit more of that land, if you please. And we have laughed and said, no, thank you very much. We're capable of managing the rest of this. If the FCRA, who we're griping, is not selling enough property fast enough, is ready to sell property fast enough, and we're not willing to let them because we're not willing to provide basic infrastructure to the FCRA property that's within Barling, we look stupid. We look completely stupid. On the one hand, we're jumping up and down, bitching and moaning that the FCRA is not concluding and wrapping up its business. It's not selling the land fast enough to distribute to the beneficiaries, while at the other hand, they're saying, look, we'll help you pay for 3/4 of your streets. We'll get half of it from the state. We'll pony up half of the rest. You guys pony up 25 cents on the dollar. And we say, hell no. Stick it in your ear. That's what this is at this point. So I think if you're asking my advice, I would say do Church Street. Let them pay for half of our cost. Let the state pay for the other half. And get it all done for 25 cents on the dollar, because that's what we're trying to do anyway, is develop that property. If we don't get the grant, it doesn't matter, because that's an escape clause that says we don't have to do that. At that point, all we'll be doing is paying half the engineering bill in order to know that that's coming down the pike sometime in the future. We did not get the funding from the state this time, which means we have an escape clause. We're out of this deal. We don't have to build anything except we've agreed to go ahead and pay half the engineering cost to do the north-south road and the east-west road and the tie-in into RDOT. So at least the engineering will be done, and that's not going to change. So next year, or the year after that, or the year after that, if we get the funding from the state, again, now we got the state ready, willing, and able to cough up half of our construction costs, and the trust has indicated they're willing to go 50-50 on the rest of it. And we're developing the east side of 59 for 25 cents on the dollar for costs that are literally ours. Nobody has to help us. We've agreed to provide that. I think it would be silly for us to not take a 75% off fire sale from the state of Arkansas and the FCRA and let us develop that for 25 cents on the dollar. But again, if we don't do that, even if you just agreed to do the Church Street extension, if the state doesn't come through with the money, we're out. We don't have to do it. All we've paid for is half of the engineering fees to get it done.
One of the things, let's get the elephant out of the room right now and be done with it going forward. There's animosity between this board and the FCRA. Sometimes you just gotta eat your shoe leather and see, is this more beneficial for Barling and its citizens than it is for me to hold a damn grudge against an entity that's going to be dissolving quicker or slower? We have the ability to put our foot on the throttle to hurry this along, and by pumping the brakes like we're wanting to do today, it's not a good look.
Trust issue, sir.
Let me tell you about something that happened. Y'all missed it. I was here. Ron Wingfield, who was the planner on this, talked to me about the money and the grant it was given from the economic development for Chad Colley. That's where it was. And the reason Barling was not involved in that was they did not have A, engineering capability or design capability to do that. And the money that came in the grant went through with Wingfield and the blessing of who was here before him and sent it out, and that's how it ended up with the trust handling the EDA grant that it got to Chad Colley. Someone had the foresight to at least get a part of it between the new highway and the old Church Street highway. Otherwise, that road wouldn't be there. But I'm just telling you, that's how that money came down. It didn't come down and it wasn't shoveled to Fort Smith. It was shoveled through the trust. And the deal was that they didn't have anybody here that managed it or managed it. They had a contract engineer who's been retired many years, and he didn't have time as a one-man outfit to take care of it. And that's how come you got the mess with Chad Colley. That's how it started. And if you don't think that's right, I got a wash tub full of files that you can read in there, and you can read every bit of it. And so I'm telling you, and you guys won't talk about this quarter. Matt and I talked about this after the meeting the very first time, about 25 cents on the dollar and what it means, whether we did the whole thing or a quarter or a half or phase. So you've got a chance, and you can vote, ring vote, or you can stand in and dig your heels in, but you've thrown away 75 cents of that dollar.
We do have the money.
Yeah.
I think it is a small amount in the grand scale. I mean, it is. It would be a good opportunity for us to work together, like Ken said at the last meeting. Daniel and I have spoken, and we're besties now, so we're gonna make sure this works out well.
And I thought that's one of the reasons at the last meeting, like Kim said, since you brought up trust issues, that's why we went with the contract. This is an opportunity to gain the trust back.
If I'm correct, our half would be $230,000 if we're awarded the grant. And if we're not, we would still agree to pay $130,000. You have street sales tax money that we are getting.
Say that what you just said again.
230, almost 231,000
For,
would be our cost with adding on that extra engineering. So if we got the grant, that would be our half.
and that would get the first phase done.
Yeah, that would do the design for all of it, but that would do the first phase of construction.
Okay.
Church Street.
But
And
that's
then-
our total out of pocket on the first phase.
Yes, and then.
Is that correct, gentlemen?
Yes, plus full design. And then, even if we're not awarded, is that what you had?
All right, let me ask about that, because the way I'm reading the numbers.
It's closer to three, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it says, the one I'm reading, if you look under the witness paragraph, this indicates applying for a $1.417 million grant. And then if you go over on page 2, it says, for a $1.4 million grant, the estimated cost of the project expense is $1,777,710, correct? And then if you go down to the bottom of that paragraph, it says, except that under no circumstances shall the city's total financial obligation under this agreement exceed the sum of $177,171.
That's 10%.
The other design. for
Okay.
engineering.
That didn't include the additional.
The additional engineering, we added that, that's what,
Yeah, so if we add the additional engineering, that would
Then
cover
For
it
the
makes
whole
it-
project.
we're
Then
doing the engineering design of the whole
It'd be
project.
231,000 for the additional.
Alright.
So what, where'd everybody
Give
write
me
it?
your number.
We didn't get this until about a couple hours ago.
It's like a computer.
We haven't had a chance to read through this and digest it.
Well,
We were supposed to have this Friday.
Design, the
I got
engineering.
it, reread it, and we, but anyhow, we,
Was 153,710.
that's what,
Total.
this is the,
Yeah,
this
just
is,
Church Street. For the whole project,
And the total was 266,695.
that's all right.
okay, so 1/3, okay.
I didn't get no
Yes,
email.
yes.
No
So
email.
Megan's numbers are right. You're
I got it.
looking at
I got
a hair,
Sorry.
it. 230 some odd $1,000.
And so, I don't mean to throw one more wrinkle in this, but if the grant doesn't happen and it's design only, then our fee is actually a little bit less than that for what you're on the hook for. Because $60,000 of that cost was for construction phase services. That's for our observation and testing and inspection, right? And so, of that $260,000, only $184,000 is for actual design before bid phase services.
184.
184,020.
Okay, so if we're not awarded the grant, we pay for the design, it would be half of that.
Right, so I'm clear. The first phase, including the design for the entire project
Yes.
and the construction of the first project, our total out of pocket is what?
a little over
3.
300,000.
No, no.
No.
The beauty of this is that it would
230.
allow us to increase the
Okay.
grant
30.
application from
It would be like
1,417
230, yes.
to 1.5, the maximum amount.
Okay.
Which you gotta back.
So
up.
2/3.
Okay, Megan, my second question is, we fund this, we get the grant, we get the first phase. What is it gonna look like on the second phase? Are we going to have funds to continue, or is this something that we're gonna have to sit on because we don't have funds because we spent it all on the first?
I mean, as long as
So this is,
they're willing to.
so
we have
Bill,
the funds.
Bill, that's a really good question, but this is a new grant, but it allows you to apply 2 consecutive terms, right? So you could apply for the 1.5 million now, right? And we could start on phase 1 and we could get it to substantial completion. You've got 24 months to build the project, to design and build the project. And while you're.
Both phases.
The
No,
first
No,
phase.
just the first phase.
While
Grant.
you're building
Grant.
phase 1, you can apply for the grant again. for phase
Yeah,
2.
even if we're still building, if the grant, when the grant opens up again next
So-
year, we can.
So what I'm hearing you say is, we get the 1.5 million on the front end of it,
Yep.
we start the first phase, we do the engineering, and then you can go in and apply for another grant on the backside of that for the same
Yes.
amount?
For
And
another
at that point, we would
1.5.
say, phase 2, we'll call it Park Road only, right, is already designed. Here is our updated estimated cost, our opinion of probable cost, with a full construction plan set. We're asking for this amount of money, and that's probably gonna be on the order of $1.4 million, right?
So in 26, they would file again for another grant to fund the north-south route.
And the same thing applies with
Exactly.
the,
But we'll already have the engineering done.
Yes, so
So
we
all
just-
we'll need are construction funds for next year's grant application, because we'll have the whole project engineered, and we'll have the first part at least under construction, if not done. So we can apply each year.
And it's a brand new grant, so unless you know more than I do, I haven't looked. And there are so many different grants. There are trails grants that you apply for and get, and the county gets every single year. They're just giving money away. Don't have enough people applying. But then there are grants like our park grant where we received it and they were straight up and told us the next 3 to 4 years you're wasting your time.
That was the
simply
whole
say,
reason
we
they
don't-
applied. You go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine, it's just, that we don't know if, since it's brand new, what our odds are about getting it a second year. But I think they still said we would split the cost the second year if we ended up deciding to do it on the fall.
The greater benefit is it tells people who's wanting to invest in Barling that they're looking for.
The second thing is, everybody missed it, all the grants, when they tell you 2 years, they mean to get it done in 2 years, because if not, you'll be like some of these people that are facing, and we see the messages all the time about the clawback for not taking care of it. And you need, if you're gonna do it, you wanna get on your horse and do it, and that's exactly why this chance may not come by again.
And the reason they applied for it, of course, 'cause then that frees up Barling to ask for the same grant money for other projects. We don't have to ask for grant money for a road. They applied for it under their name, that gets credited to them. That way we can apply for fire station money, or we can apply for whatever, for our own 1.5 million, for our own pet project. So then we get the road built, and maybe we get a $1.5 million grant for us to do whatever the hell we want to do with that.
Okay,
We have applied for it this year.
I guess my next question is, are all these numbers and all this stuff gonna be transparent to the city of Barling during all this?
I think that's why they worked on their end to get the numbers in so that it wouldn't just be a blank. So the numbers you're seeing, they put pencil to paper, and these are the numbers.
So, just to clarify that, we built a model on what the per mileage cost for a standard city street of this width, with curb and gutter, with RCP storm drain, and then we broke that down to a per foot cost, and then we applied it to the different segments for the different appropriations for it. So, we still call that a rough order of magnitude cost, because we're not sure if things are gonna change slightly along the way, but that's a really good estimate at this point.
One other question. If we wait a year, are the costs gonna go up, or are they gonna go down?
Yeah, they're gonna go up.
They're gonna go up.
They're gonna go up.
Mayor, I'd ask for a revote.
Same motion, revote?
Yes.
All right, got a motion, do I have a second?
Can I say something before we vote?
Yes, go right ahead.
If I would've had this information, my vote would've been different.
I didn't hear.
I didn't
I
hear
said if I had this information, my vote would've been a little different.
Well, I mean,
But
that was the whole purpose of
You,
this meeting. Yeah.
you explained, and I understand it better.
Yeah.
I don't know these guys. All I know is Griffin. Grew up with his grandpa and his daddy and everybody else. He's from a good family. I don't know you, I don't know you, and I don't know you. I'd like to get you know better, but anyway. All I'm saying is, we're gonna hold your feet to the fire,
I expect that, and I appreciate that.
okay?
Let's
Because
vote.
I don't want any more of this, in a better way to just put crap.
I would love to partner with the FCRA here going forward, but obviously, there's some issues that are only gonna take time to fix. And I'd like us to partner maybe a little bit better than we have in the past, maybe listen to our concerns, instead of being dismissed on everything. And I think maybe we can do something going forward. But the history that we have isn't good. I'd like to try to repair that somehow. So whatever that means.
Well, the good thing is, Bill, there's not much left in Fort Smith for them to do. It's Barling's time to shine now, and hopefully, and
Well, that's beside
I have faith in what they're doing. I'm just gonna say it. I want you guys to dissolve, okay? And if it means that we're going to, have to do the infrastructure and all that and get it sold and get it done, and we got to partner up to do it, I'm all for it.
Mayor, I call for a revote.
All right, got a motion. Do I have a second? Second by Pancho.
Say one more thing. The reason I was so reluctant, I did state jobs when I was in the plumbing, heating, air business. I have walked in to an office, handed a book this thick and say, I need a bid on it in 30 minutes. Every time, and I'm serious, 30 minutes. I can't read that book and look at all the specs and everything, but we need the bid. We're gonna supply all the fixtures. You supply the labor and the material, rough in, top out material, okay? Every time I did that, I lost my tail, and one time up to almost $500,000. And that's why I was so reluctant on this. Anyway, go ahead, I'm sorry.
All right. Roll call vote.
Aaron Rhodes?
Yes?
John Manus?
Sure.
John Manus?
Sure.
James Davis?
Yes.
Marcia Parker?
Yes.
Ken Collie?
Yes.
Bill Young?
Yes.
Ron Sharon?
Yes. Motion is approved. Before we adjourn, does anybody want to say anything or?
I do.
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay, so,
We got another meeting.
Go right ahead, sir.
since they're filling the blank numbers, I just wanna make 100% sure that everybody understands the numbers. We're gonna apply for 1.5. That'll leave a remaining of 325,000. And then we'll be splitting that cost, so, but, are we gonna put a max on it, like a cap on it? Like
Yes.
if there was any changing?
I just need to update the grant amount, the total project cost amount, and then the do not exceed amount, which would be 50% of the difference
Oh,
between
we're
the
not doing a
estimated
penny
cost.
over, something happened. Okay. I'm fine with that, that's what you want, we're not a penny over, so our half is 162.5 for my calculations. So
right.
as long as, Steve said it's right, he's a calculator, so if that's
Yeah,
not a
So
penny
if we
over-
get the grant, our first out of pocket is 162.5.
162.5 for full design and the one half of the.
I'm gonna have to double check the math because we have to do it 20%. It's gotta be 20%. So whatever the number is, the total project cost, we can only apply 80% to the grant and the remainder has to be.
80% of the grant out of 1.5 would be 1.2.
Well, you gotta at least hit 1.8 total project cost. And we're not gonna do 1.5.
8/18 is 144.
So then we also add in 20%.
We can finalize the numbers later.
No, no, not later. No, we're agreeing to it. We're doing it now.
So we've gotta have his.
So we have to do everything over the 1.5 plus 20%.
So total would be about 230, right?
230, yes. 230-ish.
230-ish?
I'm looking at 260.
just keeps going up and up and up, see?
Just happened to
So
162.5.
this went up 100,000?
That's without
Right
the,
there.
Plus,
That's what I'm saying.
I think they separated the engineering.
Engineering and
No,
construction.
I specifically asked the question, is that for the total design and half of the project?
You did.
You did.
And I was told 162.5.
Now we're at 230.
I got 230.
No,
Well, they were 230 at the beginning, I thought.
Yeah, it was
Not
230.
230. How much was it?
Well, that's why I asked the
260?
question,
Now,
just like that.
Let them do the cranking over here. They got the calculator.
I've got 1878.
States made this.
That's the way I'm looking.
Tommy says it's gonna be real hard to find a fire truck at $1.5 million. It'll have gold plated rhinestones on the spokes, gold plated handles on it. Okay, where is it?
Don't forget about the dog.
Yeah, I get him dogs in.
You can't have, is it 800? Where's it at? Texas?
Alabama.
Oh, Alabama.
You gonna pull it back with a rope, or you gonna drive? You have to pull it back with a rope, or you gonna drive it?
Fire truck dealer, and they truck it, they ship it to you. It's a 100-foot area.
Got room to put it? You got room to put it away?
I have a place that it can be stored.
On property?
No. That's not a problem.
Accessible?
I don't wanna lose the deal, because it's taken us 3 years to find one.
What I'd like to have, I'd like to have that building next door.
The bank?
Huh?
The bank?
No.
She said 3,750.
Oh, the furniture.
Yeah. That'd be because that'd be.
100 by 100.
100 by 100 building, and you can do what you need to do. Plus, if you have to have office space, it's got space on that lot. That's a lot, that's a 1 1/4 acre lot.
Already got some offices in it, that right up in the front corner, you go all just straight back all the way and make offices all the way to the back.
Until we build a fire station,
Down 347.5.
climate control.
Okay.
Put it in the Baptist Church gymnasium. Huh?
That's it.
Okay, you can't put it in the Baptist Church gymnasium.
Yeah, the loading back.
I'm just saying, that's the only place I knew that'd be big enough to hold one.
Do we have free reign, or is this gonna cost rent? Is there any cost involved in storing it?
That was what I was getting.
See, do not exceed.
It won't be. There won't be any cost in storing that fire truck.
The only time it'll be used
What's
is
that
when.
number?
baptisms.
189.
Be
189,
responsibility
3,470.
for the engineering of the whole thing and the completion of phase.
That was one of the, hey, in that meeting the other day, that's one of them. But it said 189.5?
189 and some change.
347.50.
Yep, exactly.
Yes.
So 189,000.
Bargain.
That's our outlay for the entire engineering, our part of the entire engineering
Cause we can't make no.
process and completion of Church Street.
We have.
That's with the 1.5 million grant.
Right.
With the grant.
And again,
Fully awarded, yes.
if it isn't fully awarded,
We come back and visit it again.
we bail.
No, but
If
he
it's
is
not
the
1.5, we bail. If it
The only
turns
thing-
out that,
Off of H Street.
again, we know what our ceiling is.
Do we do the
No, the contract.
engineering first before you apply the grant, or do you apply for the grant first?
Apply for the grant first.
This is a,
So we're gonna go ahead
and you got that street off of all these streets and goes like this, the contractor has to pay for
The
We
award,
have
we're
to,
being told
they
there isn't a
have to.
definite date of award yet. but
it. This is H, this is Church.
Okay.
So,
These are main streets. These are streets just to go into houses. Contractor pays for
6
it.
months.
so we'll just be
We have
ahead
to
of
pay
it.
for this.
Okay.
It's already there.
All
And
righty.
if we are granted, we can come back
It was a
and discuss
50-50 deal.
Figure something else
construction
out.
if we need to. at
Okay.
that point.
With the
At least we're
All right.
engineering design.
All right. Anybody got any other questions? Comments?
Thank you guys for listening to us. We have some concerns. I think we've got them worked out, and that's what you do.
And this is a good first step.
Yes.
To rebuild that. I agree. But I think, we gotta start rebuilding somewhere. This is probably
need
the
to
best
figure
way to
out
do
how-
it. Let's get Church Street
It's
done and
finished.
finished, and if it all comes off without a hitch, let's look forward to next year.
Without
Parkway.
affecting.
All righty. Ron, would you like to do the honors?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Got a motion to
I'll
adjourn?
second it.
Got a second. Folks, we are adjourned. Have a great
Make a
day.
motion that, we figure out how to make money